I'm in Vestal, New York, which is actually pretty close to the Pennsylvania border. And I'm here at the Vestal Cemetery. This is the final resting place of fallen officer Kevin Tarzia. So before David Sweat became half of the infamous duo who escaped the Dannemora prison, he of course was a lengthy criminal committing crimes, but what landed him in prison for life was the murder of Kevin Tarzia, the deputy. So it was the 4th of July 2002. David Sweat, his cousin Jeffrey Nappinger, and a third man named Sean Duvall were in a park. They were unloading firearms into another vehicle as they had just stolen them. And that is when Deputy Kevin Tarzia pulled into the parking lot. It was around 3:30 a.m., so of course dark out. Now all three men attempted to hide, but as soon as Deputy Tarzia shone his flashlight around the cars where the three men were hiding, he saw them. Now David Sweat was holding several guns. He had a loaded gun in one hand and an unloaded gun in the other hand. And according to David, this is his version of events, he says that the officer reached for his firearm, which again, do you blame the officer for drawing his firearm when he sees three suspicious individuals at nighttime loading stuff into their car? As soon as the deputy took his gun out, David Sweat unloaded and ended up shooting him 22 times. One of the bullets ended up penetrating Kevin's bulletproof vest. He went down, but he still was not dead yet. David Sweat then ran over the fallen deputy with his car many times. And at that point, the deputy was still alive somehow. Finally, David's cousin Nappinger picked up the fallen deputy's firearm and shot him twice, point blank in the face, finally killing him. After a long manhunt, all three were eventually apprehended and confessed to killing the deputy. And on July 21st, David pleaded guilty to one count of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison. Now, again, as that was 2002 when that happened, David Sweat had been in prison for nearly 13 years before him and Richard Matt committed that very infamous prison escape. So obviously, as you can imagine, I'm sure Kevin's family was absolutely terrified and outraged when I'm sure they heard that David Sweat had escaped from prison. I'm gonna be walking up here to the final resting place of fallen officer Kevin Tarzia. I think what is so frustrating the most is the fact that Kevin Tarzia, he put up such a big fight trying to stay alive. I mean, he was shot 22 times. Imagine getting shot 22 times and still being alive. He then, again, as I said, was run over multiple times by their car, and then ultimately was shot in the face, killing him. But again, he was just doing his job. Again, he was just patrolling the area, checking on things, making sure people weren't committing crimes. Obviously, David Sweat and his moron buddies were doing exactly that. They were committing crimes. They had stolen firearms. So it's just frustrating whenever you hear of an officer being killed, because they're simply just doing their job, making sure people were not committing crimes. And so it's just, again, unfortunate that Kevin lost his life that night. We have the final resting place of Officer Kevin Tarzia. So it looks like he died a few months before his 37th birthday. Now it looks like Kevin's son, I believe this is Kevin's son, he died about 6 years later in 2008. I did not see in any articles what happened to his son, but if I find any information, I'll make sure to put it in the chat or comments. I really feel bad for Kevin's wife, as she not only lost her husband, but also lost her son. Rest in peace. Anyway guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. See you later. All right, after getting some nice information from a local here, she told me that the sewer grate that Richard, Matt, and David Sweat popped out of is going to be this one.